Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
You finally got that right after 3 years.
Instead of saying Boss Ammo or
Boss Ammo, Boss Bismuth, Boss Shells.
I'm worried about what's happening in your household at your house.
Why?
Well, yesterday at the pool, you and your wife were trying to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Trying to figure out some alone time, it seemed like. And you've got this in your son, your oldest sons, and your oldest son tells me and my wife, or your mother, do y'all just need some alone time, Dad?
That's what he said yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. Correct.
And he's 6. I'm kind of worried about this generation. That's just not normal, Andy. To a 6-year-old to know you need some alone time.
Well, he doesn't know what alone time is, so.
Well, I don't know why you needed a whole night. So let's be honest with you. Like 10 minutes was probably enough alone time.
To him, alone time could be watching TV, which is probably what it is to him.
Well, it's probably what the majority of your night was, too.
Yeah, we watched a lot of Netflix.
I just thought that was kind of funny when he asked that.
He's a caring kid. Listen, I'm not raising a cockblock, Jeff.
I think what you did, though, is you was like, hey, when you go over to Judge and Shells tonight, you need to tell him, see if you can spend the night tonight. Because you were on the phone with us earlier asking about that. So I've just got some concerns. Yes,
because all along it's been Sunday is going to be cousins camp. Mm-hmm. So when you tell a 6-year-old that Sunday is going to be cousins camp, what question do you think that you're going to get? When am I going to go over?
Should Mom be wearing lingerie tonight?
That's all that I've heard for fucking 3 days is when is cousins camp going to be.
Okay. Well.
And it's going to be Sunday. It's going to be Sunday. It's going to be Sunday. And then yesterday came around, and it wasn't Sunday. It wasn't going to be cousins camp's not to be. So you get to deal with that fire there, Hefe.
Well, I did. They were there last night. Okay. Anyways, our guest today is Rustin Morgan from Dry Creek Outfitters, friend of mine. Rustin, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm glad you carried on enough with that and marginalized poor Rustin here. It's supposed to be all about him, and you've stolen the spotlight, Jeff.
Before we proceed, can you explain what a cousin camp is?
Something Mom came up with.
Dylan and the boys are at the house, and so when the cousins come to our house, she calls it the last cousin camp of this summer. You know, last summer went from March till fucking September, so this one's a little bit shorter. But it was the last time the cousins, they all got to hang out at the house last night. We went and got Dylan. She spent the night, and they're going to spend the night again tonight. I just thought it was kind of awkward that Reese at 6 has looked at his mom and dad and said, do y'all need some alone time? I mean, I was like.
He's a perceptive little kid.
I was like, I laughed.
And he's a good wingman, I guess. He's a good wingman, apparently.
Looking out for his daddy.
Yeah. You know, I'm not raising a cock block here.
His dad didn't need no 12 hours. I can guarantee you that. Then we found out the funny part was, then in conversation last night, he spent the night before with his other grandparents. So we may be getting a third grandson out of this someday.
No.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I guess.
No.
So Rustin is the Dove King of Texas, probably of the United States, is what I would guess. I guess you probably do more dove hunts than anybody outside of, within the interior of the United States of America.
We run pretty big volume, yeah.
You do, and you're blessed to be where you hunt at.
No
lots
doubt,
of birds, a big city around Wichita Falls.
Right, not too far from the airport in Dallas, DFW, hour and a half.
Now, do you still seeing collared doves like you did last year?
Last year there were actually probably the worst year we'd ever had for collared dove. As far as I would say probably more now than we've had in a few years. I don't know if that's because we've been working them over or what, but you know, when I first started, that was the majority of what we had if we hunted anything close to town. A lot of white wings, a lot of local birds. That's why I'm interested to see what the freeze in February, you know, kind of shows us with, found a lot of dead dove in town whenever it dropped below 10 degrees outside for 7 days.
Are you worried about the north winds we're already starting to have? Because this is be our third or fourth. We've had north winds since middle of July now, every 10 days or 12 days, and that's very unusual for us.
I know in years past I've never seen teal here this early.
And there are teal here too.
Yeah,
you had a picture of them, and Zach told me he had some at Throckmorton.
I've seen pairs mowing fields for dove. You know, I've never seen 35 on a pond before, ever, never this early, anyways.
Yeah, there's starting to be we're definitely seeing a change of the season already. I noticed that our weather pattern is going to be, we're supposed to be 82 degrees for a high on Wednesday, I believe. 84, maybe. Andy's scoffing over here like he always fucking does.
We're going to look.
Okay. What's new?
88.
What is it on
So
Tuesday?
you're a little off. 91, 93, 95, 95, 97, 99, 97.
Your weather's
Are they getting all your corn and stuff out? All your crops cutting?
They're cutting them right now.
Yeah.
But we got a chance of rain, which,
We don't need that.
we'll see what the fuck
Okay,
happens.
my forecast is 86. 50% chance of rain, 50% chance of rain, and 40%.
Why do you always argue with me?
Because I don't like to lose.
whole
I don't like
2
to be wrong.
degrees.
Why do you always argue with me?
That's closer than fucking what he said. You're just always a dick to me, Andy. So, anyways, I got to get in my son. So, you've got as many collared doves this year as you've seen in the past.
Yeah, probably. I would say so far. But I have a lot of wheat, a lot of grain that we're putting on the ground within city limits. That's just large enough to hunt. 75 acres. I think if it's more than 8 acres and inside city limits, you can legally hunt it. This 75-acre wheat
I
field.
didn't know that.
And we started mowing, I don't know, about 3 or 4 days ago. And there's a bunch of collared dove in there for
Do you
sure.
get a lot of complaints in town?
It's got to be a
Lots.
pain in the
Yeah,
ass.
it's actually right next to an old people's home
Oof.
south of town. And, you would not believe the amount. We always get visited, that's for sure.
We have one place that changed farmers on us.
Thank
It's
God.
right here at Knox City, and we had another farm that's even closer to town than this one. I mean, it butts up to all the houses, and I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? It's not worth it, because all it causes is, and that's in a town of 1,000 people. I can't imagine Wichita Falls because I'm dealing with, I know everybody I've got to deal with here, and they still going to call, and I'm like, Jim, just call me if you got a problem, and I'll fix it. But you got to be in Wichita Falls. It's got to be calls all fucking day long.
It causes a lot of strife for sure, and there's already people that are local that aren't real fans of what you're doing to begin with, because everybody's got their own issues with outfitters and all that. But
And you're killing the bird of peace.
So if it's over 8 acres in city limits, you can hunt it.
don't mark me on 8 acres, but it's
But
8 to
it's
12
something.
somewhere in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Each town is different. It's a
Yeah.
city ordinance deal.
Yeah, I actually think it's state law if you're inside
know that.
city limits, as long as it exceeds a certain
enough.
amount of acreage.
Right.
Now, obviously, you can't. Your pellets can't go across a boundary or land on top of somebody's house or hit somebody's car in a parking lot, which is what we've had issues. A lot of those people that come and shoot those collared dove, they want to shoot high velocity Rios, and people get tickets for shooting over boundaries and
they
touching
should,
cars.
because that's what I don't know if that's how it is with, but like this place Jeff was talking about, we would stress to the guys, if you shoot behind this line, the game warden's going to come out and you're going to get a ticket. 100% don't. It's not going to be ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. If you pepper their house, they're calling the game warden, and I promise you're getting a ticket.
And they still do that.
75% of them will still do it.
Fuck yeah, they don't pay attention. It just blows my mind.
And like this place, like it wasn't even an invisible, like some places out here have like a hot wire fence, and that's the boundary.
Right.
This was a fucking tree grove, and it was like, don't shoot that way towards the trees.
Yeah. Well, you would think that too with an apartment complex right by, but they still shoot towards it and still get the law called.
The funny thing is, one of the guys that works for Baker Chemical out here, he called me. He said, "Hey, your guys just peppered my truck." I'm like, "Fuck!" It's the third call already on shit. I said, "I'll be out there in a minute." He said, "I'm not worried. I'm just gonna let you know." He said, "Somebody else would have bitched and complained." He said, "I'm not complaining. I just wanted to let you know." But I thought, God dang, then you go after them guys. Oh, it wasn't us.
Wasn't me.
Do you see any other fucking hunters anywhere? You're the only people within 10 miles of this place that's hunting.
And
it is y'all.
And this guy was like back towards town.
Yeah.
So it's just like, Jesus Christ, there's 6 houses right next to him that you could have
The
hit.
best part, though, is some people bought a really nice home right next to this place. And the first morning we go out there and we're dropping hunters off, and it's 6:15 in the morning or whatever. It's still dark.
Right.
And you hear her dogs, all these little dogs yapping and shit. And you hear her, hush, 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 hush. And then you get everybody set up, and you come back to them, pow, pow. You motherfuckers. She's cussing and at us and shit. I'm thinking, you know what, ma'am? You bought a house in the country. It's legal what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the way I see it, and that's always kind of, I've been confronted every year. I get confronted by somebody, a local, down the road, whatever, pull up and, try and tell me that I'm not doing what I should be or supposed to be doing, and I guess you take that up with the game warden if you'd like.
Called capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, take it, like you said, call the game warden and we'll work it out here.
Yeah.
If they find they're doing something wrong, then they'll get a ticket.
I used to be overly paranoid about, people's opinions and what they thought about what my people were doing. But at some point, you got to just sit back and understand that people are going to do what they do and be themselves, and you're not responsible for it. You can lay the ground rules and provide a place to hunt, take their money, and do the best you can. But
there comes a time in life where your give a shit or just don't fucking work.
I learned that from my friend Jeff, actually, not too long ago.
It's good. It's a good habit to have. You take care of your own and don't worry about shit you can't control.
Yeah, I've worked on that.
Who's that? Are you in trouble, Jeff? That sounds like a bill collector.
Ain't no bill collector.
Are they coming to take the lodge again?
Again. There's some lady wanting to pay a bill for somebody.
Oh.
So good. I'll call her in a minute and collect some money.
There's some money right there.
Anyways, what I was going to get into before Andy was such a jackass as usual, the collared dove deal. I wondered how that was going to work because they're a new species. We haven't had them here for 20 years, and they're getting more and more. And y'all have all the big metropolitan areas have a lot more of them. My question is, if you shoot a shitload of them one year, do they bounce back the next year?
I don't think they do. A lot of these birds, you're watching them, throughout the year being raised in Wichita Falls. I mean, we shoot these dove, and when we clean them, we clean all the collared doves. Don't legally have to, but we do. They taste just as good as any other. But we clean all those birds, and they have dog food in their crawls, cat food in their crawls. I mean, they're a city-raised dove, and there's no way. You have good hatch years, bad hatch years, but there's no way you can convince me that we're not doing some sort of damage. I mean, I know there's years we'll shoot a couple thousand in the field that I'm talking about south of town, and then the next year, you shoot white wings and a few collared dove, and then it just come and go. I don't think they migrate much at all.
We've talked about this before, and we talked about this with the bird guy, I think, or somebody that's in the bird. Those birds supposedly started in Florida. Some guy owned an island off the coast of Florida, I'm assuming a very wealthy man, and he saw these birds, and he brung some birds and let them go on his place. And they nested, and they moved. So are you fixing to fact check me, Andy?
Just going to look and see what happened.
Well, that I don't mind you fact checking me, but I think that's it. And supposedly they move about 15 miles a year, and they just expand. And now I don't know for sure how close the 15-mile deal is, but I know that growing up in Wichita Falls, we did not have collared doves when I was a kid growing up there. And we didn't have them out here until about 15 to 20 years ago. We've got certain places that we kill a lot of them. You're different than me because you let your guys shoot the collards extra. I tell them, listen, you got a 15-bird limit. I'm not checking birds, the game warden. That's his job.
Right.
If you get caught over it, you can't clean them at the field. You can't do this shit because they can't differentiate which is a collared and a mourning dove or ringneck.
Right.
So I tell guys, listen, kill 15 birds and be done. But I got that one guy that thinks he can kill 3 extra birds by killing collards. So that's between him and them. But you guys are killing 1,000 of them fuckers.
Right. Yeah. Most of those guys that I have in a field like that, I know have a lot of collared dove, they're not. They're a nuisance bird, no limit. A lot of them guys are paying me more than what everyone else is paying. So
just to shoot collards.
The people that, are frustrated that, they're paying $120 a day and, they get to go shoot their 15 white wings. Well, the person that's shooting 45 Eurasian dove, collared dove, and their white wings are the people that are, spending more money or may have had a company lease that field privately or something. One thing that I have noticed about collared dove is you don't have grain close to town. They won't leave town. They're not going to fly 15 miles to go feed in a wheat field that maybe a mourning dove will go do or a white wing will go do. The collared dove, if there's not grain near town, they're not leaving town.
They'll find they're scavengers.
They'll find dog food, cat food. They'll get on the porch and get in your water bowls and stuff like that. So
this says they started in the Bahamas.
Well, okay, that's right. Island off the coast of Florida. 22 miles.
By the late 70s, they'd reached Florida, 80s in Georgia, and then they just keep on going.
Well, whoever told me about it told me they started off an island off of Florida, and that would be the Bahamas probably, I guess. So that makes sense. And the Bahamas are 22 miles off the coast of Florida, I think, at the closest. So another interesting thing, people that don't do a lot of dove hunting.
So how do they tell them on the wing that they're collared dove?
What do you mean?
How do
For a hunter?
Yeah.
They're a lot bigger.
They're a lot bigger,
But
lighter
that's all
color.
that they know?
Yeah.
Lighter color. You can tell by the breast size, even. I mean, legally you're supposed to have a wing attached. Obviously, it's like waterfowl, but so that you can identify. But you can.
It's more like a pigeon.
It's a lot closer to a pigeon than anything else.
Another thing is like the mourning dove.
Because I mean, it's just that black collar right there, isn't it?
Yes, that's the only thing they do, but they're just a lot bigger.
A lot lighter color, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just so noticeably different. If you put that next to a white wing, it's almost double the size.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Have you not shot any of them out here?
Jeff, I don't get the dove hunt.
Oh.
He's working.
Well, someone has to do
Somebody's got to fucking keep keep the wheels on the track.
Now what I was going to get back with, on the mourning dove compared to the white-winged dove, the white-winged dove will fly a lot farther to a field.
I believe that.
And they're a lot like pigeons.
Correct.
Than a mourning dove. Mourning dove are going to be where they're going to be at.
Right. Also, mourning dove are more apt to come to a dove mojo than a white wing is.
And you shoot, and we have found out here that we'll shoot mourning dove earlier in the morning than you will a white wing. A white wing might be 8:30 before they go to the fields.
8:30, 9 o'clock. And most of my fields that have white wings, you get all your hunters out in the field at daylight, and they're all twiddling their thumbs for an hour and a half, wondering why you just screwed them.
But you know what? You got to take them there, though. If you don't, and then they go early.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, if they decide one day that they're all just going to get out of there early and show up, I mean, how disappointing would that be to show up to the field and the dove already be in there,
We goose hunt in an area south of here that's due south of the lodge about 10 miles, and we hunt there later in the year usually. If you go there and hunt, you got to set up the same time you do at the other fields. But you're not going to see a goose down there till 8:30, 9 o'clock some mornings. Where if you're closer to the roost area, you're going to see them right at 7:30.
Same thing when you're waterfowl hunting. If you know a bunch of ducks are going to, you've been watching this spot for a whole week, and you know that 2,000 mallards are going to come to this pond at 9 o'clock in the morning. Are you going to show up at 8:30 and risk that, or are you going to show up at daylight and hunt it?
You have to, and that's the goose hunt down there is that way. And them guys will be like, shit, and you can take binoculars out of your bag and look, and you can start seeing them coming for a long way off. But it's a slower deal, and you got to tell your guys, listen, it's not a
I hate those fucking days because it is
the waiting.
Because the whole time you're waiting, you're like, did something change? And I did not. Was I not CC'd in this email? Like, are the birds short-stopping me?
Well, we're spoiled on a lot of our waterfowl hunting because we hunt within a mile of the roost lakes, and we're the first spot they're going to. So even if they're not feeding in our field, they got to go over us first. So
and you're at least looking at birds. Those days where you're 15 miles away from the roost and you're just waiting, you're just like, oh fuck, please get here. I don't care if we shoot them, just please let us see them.
So you built your lodge this year.
I did not, actually.
I thought you built a lodge.
I spent quite a bit of money on my current lodge. We remodeled, new doors, new floors.
Okay, I was thinking you built a new lodge.
No, I did not. I've been working on that. I bought a couple hundred acres right there across from my lodge that initially that was the plan for, but of course your president's in office, so we're slowing that down a little bit.
That goofy fucker. I'm going to tell you what, this shit in Afghanistan, that's crazy. I can't imagine a business. And the United States is a business. Let's face it, it's a business. And we actually had a president that ran it as a business for a couple of years, and things were great. But he was not letting the wealthy people in D.C. weren't getting their cuts. They stole a fucking election.
It's about money. It's all about money. Yeah.
But we left billions of dollars in Afghanistan. Why the fuck would you give drones, helicopters, and just leave? Blow this shit up.
Yeah, it's all about a check.
I'm telling you.
It's a check for somebody, always.
And then the Taliban comes on, and they have a fucking news conference from the presidential palace. I would have blown that son of a bitch to the ground.
And did you see all the compliments that the Taliban got for having rags over their face and for the COVID protocol? How responsible they were.
At least they're wearing masks
as they're kidnapping and raping 12-year-old girls.
Did you see their statement? There will not be no gay marriages.
Yeah, Sharia law.
Yeah, no, there will be no gay marriages. There will be women won't have any fucking right to do shit except get knocked up and cook.
Yeah.
And we're not fucking taking any vaccine.
Yeah.
Now, they're not going to take a vaccine ever again. I'll bet you money their COVID fucking rates ain't any higher than fucking California's.
Nope.
But it is a fucked up mess. I just can't imagine leaving all those assets there. That's what blows me away.
Yeah, well, it's about a check. Somebody's getting paid.
And then the president, at the most crucial moment in our country other than 9/11, probably militarily, if that's a word, and there's no word. Nobody's around. He's gone. The vice president, nobody knows. None of them spoke. Well, I just fucking can't believe that.
I think that's...
You don't think they should have said
every
something?
President is gone when it seems like they should be there. Trump was not there when COVID was breaking out.
Where was he at?
He was playing golf.
But
he came back.
But he was there that night to say something. He made he never backed down from a news conference.
No, he didn't do that. But the theory that Biden's gone on vacation, well, they all go on vacation.
I don't have a problem with being on vacation, but he could have come back and made a comment. Anywhere in this world, we've got a fucking cell phone. We're sitting at the big Honker Lodge right now, and all three of us can make a statement, anything we want to on Facebook right now. How hard is it for them to put him in front of a camera? I don't expect it to him within 5 minutes, but within 2 hours he can.
Well, in that Pisaki, she's out on vacation all week.
Yeah.
So she's gone all week.
They must have a cunt conference somewhere.
She's gone all week. Biden's out. Kamala, I've not seen her since Inauguration Day.
I think she's under Willie Brown's desk right now, probably slobbing his knob.
So, like, this thing's going to play out a week before anybody even talks about it. Well, I mean, the majority of it's like the shock. And if they did a press conference today, he'd get murdered.
Joe Biden, they said, will make one in 2 or 3 days. They're going to sit him down and try to go over all of the shit he's got to talk about.
But he would get his ass handed to him if he did a press conference today.
But he wouldn't know it.
Huh?
He don't know if he's eating Fruit Loops or shitting in his pants. He's clueless.
Did you see the Afghans jumping on the military plane?
Them fuckers are dying for their life. When you jump on a fucking airplane and try to ride a wing on that son of a bitch, hey, you got the sound working now.
I don't know how. That fucking plane's trying to take off, and people are jumping on the side to fucking try to get out of that hellhole.
You know that co-pilot's like, hit the throttle, Mitch.
Look at that shit. I mean, it's fucking wild. Crazy.
That's crazy.
But that's how desperate they are because they know. I'm going to get into this right now. I personally think we needed to leave Afghanistan. I don't think this is the way we should have done it, but I'm tired of us sending our kids and my sons in the military. And he signed up for it. He didn't get drafted. He signed up to go do what he's doing. But I don't want him having to go do that shit no more than I wanted any other soldier to have to do it. I don't have a problem with us fighting any war and standing up for what's right or wrong. But that deal over there, it's a no-win situation. The fucking Russians quit it. Everybody quit. I did read that the Afghan government told the United States when all this shit happened with Osama bin Laden that they'll get Osama bin Laden, just give him a couple weeks to get it done, and Bush, nope, and attacked. Now, I don't know how true all that shit is, but we don't need to be over there anymore. We need to get all our guys. But we should have. There's an exit, and that was not a very good strategy, whatever it was.
Well, and I mean, we've gone 20 years without a 9/11 for a reason.
That's the best point I've heard, and I saw an ex-soldier talk about it. He said they were so focused on running from us, and we had them all stuck in that area right there. He goes, we didn't have one because of that. He goes, now they're going to sit over there and train these fuckers. Mm-hmm. They hate Americans. They hate Christians. I mean, if them fuckers come in right now, they'd want to chop every one of our fucking heads off.
So, I mean, at what point does it go from we need to be there for our security purposes? It's just it's a fine line that you have to draw.
Yeah, well, whatever we did, I was with Trump. I think we needed to take them out, but this is not the answer. And we needed a president, no matter who the fuck it is, to stand up and tell people what's going on. And to me, it looks like a coward way of doing shit, and that's this administration. Everything they got's fucked up. The border's fucked up. Afghanistan's fucked up. Inflation's fucked up. COVID Delta variant's fucked up, which I can't blame him for that no more than you could blame Trump for the other one. But
it's almost like Biden posted something controversial on social media and then just set his phone down and walked away.
Yeah.
Like he's like, okay, we're leaving on Friday. Fuck it. Deuce. I'm out of here. I'll see you in a week.
But see, that's what a normal person would think probably. That fucker, he don't know what he's doing. He is an empty suit. They got all these people in the world right now that are making these decisions for him, and they're like, fuck, let's do this. We always wanted to do it, but we didn't have the balls to do it on our watch because we knew it was a fucking dumb thing, but it's radical. But his dumb ass, he fucking shit in his pants. He don't have a clue what's going on. You think Biden has a clue what's going on?
I do not, actually. I don't know. I don't really, I'm not sure that we need to veer this direction because I've always been kind of leave politics out of business because
how many fucking liberals do you hunt, you think?
I don't, and I don't care to have any of them, to be honest.
Well, then why the fuck do you want to leave fucking politics out?
Because we were talking about doing, I thought.
Well, I told you we'd talk about whatever.
Yeah, no, we're good.
And I don't know how we got
this is the flavor of the month. I'll bet you.
Was there a dove that came over from Afghanistan? Like, how did we switch to this topic?
I don't have a clue how we got to it.
We're talking about birds migrating.
Shit.
And then, yeah, think about the dumb fuckers over in Afghanistan right now.
Talked about building a new lodge.
Oh, Andy was talking about an airplane.
Huh?
And he's like, did you see them fuckers trying to fly off that airplane?
That was after. I didn't drag us into this.
We were talking about the price of lumber, I think, in a roundabout way. How expensive it is to build anything right now, you know.
It is.
It is crazy.
Real estate, everything just going nuts, you know.
And another thing, fucking paint. I had to paint a house. The freeze we had in February knocked out all the reserve paint in the whole state. And COVID has shut down the paint plants.
Reserve paint.
Yeah, they had like warehouses full of paint.
And it ruined because of that?
Fucking, they didn't have any power. All the paint froze.
I didn't think about that.
So I'm not the only one that's sick and tired of people using COVID as an excuse for every single thing that's going wrong.
I went to get paint the other day, and they're like, well, let me make sure we have it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, yeah, like the freeze in February knocked out any reserves that they had from the warehouses. The warehouses are closed because COVID. They won't let them get back to work to make new paint. So, like, we have a paint shortage now.
It shut down fucking Starbucks at Omni Hotel in Fort Worth.
Did they?
It's fucking closed down.
I was there 2 days ago, and they were wide open for business.
Starbucks was?
Yeah.
In the Omni?
Yep. Yeah.
They were shut down when we were there Saturday.
That line was about 4 miles long.
What day were you there?
I was there Saturday morning.
So was I.
Yeah, they were open.
They were closed Saturday afternoon.
That morning, we walked over there because that's the only thing we thought about getting some coffee before we walked over to the show. And
I went there that afternoon. It was shut down because we stayed there that night.
There's no telling.
I noticed a lot of places. Me and Michelle took a carriage ride downtown, and a bunch of the places that are like the fondue place, they're all shut down. Nothing. Yeah. Now, a lot of it is because fucking people don't want to work.
Right. That's the majority of it. I went to Atlanta last week to see a dog that I had just purchased and had over there with a guy named Blaine Tarnacki. And
we're giving free plugs to Blaine Tarnacki now. Is that what we're doing?
That's okay. Yeah, a guy named Blaine Tarnacki, and I've been paying him to, I guess, train / take care of my dog for a while and will for a while. But we went over there, and I mean, Atlanta's, there mask mandates all over, but people just aren't buying it. They're just not. I mean, it's a city mandate. They have it in big bold letters on every door you walk in, and ain't a person, employee, none in there with a mask on.
Did you drive or fly?
Flew.
Man, that's a bad deal. You don't fly to Atlanta nowadays. You got to stop about 10 miles outside of town and put your fucking bulletproof vest on.
Yeah, that place is wild.
That's the most. I don't think I've been anywhere in the U.S. that I feel more uncomfortable than I do in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, Atlanta's pretty scary. I mean, we of course we drove kind of to the suburb immediately after we got there, but yeah, it's sketchy. There's a lot of
That's the sketchiest place I've been to in a long time, and I've been to Memphis, New Orleans.
There's a lot of hippies over there too. A lot of hippies.
And you know what? We hunt a lot of people from there, good people. And they all tell you the same thing. We don't go to fucking Atlanta.
Yeah.
And it's...
the heart of Atlanta's sketchy.
Is,
no doubt.
Sketchy's not even the word for it.
Yeah.
It is... Like I said, you need a fucking bulletproof vest to fucking walk around.
I'll drive next time.
Yeah. You can stop 10 miles. You can see people, they all stopping out there, and you see, what are they doing? They're all putting their fucking bulletproof vest on before they drive through town. What kind of dog you got? You didn't get a normal dog. You got a...
No, everybody's got a lab, so I don't know. I'm just now kind of easing out of the phase of just wanting to kill, and trying to enjoy waterfowling from a little bit different perspective. So, for me, a dog is going to do that. But I got a Boykin Spaniel.
Yeah. We've had some draught hires, and they're good dogs. And that's the kind of the way it is. A lot of people are getting away from that. Like a Wally dog, a Labradoodle. I've seen more and more people trying that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ollie is a smart dog, but, boy, they got a lot of poodle in them. And that's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Are cockleburs not going to be a big thing with this dog? Is it going to look like that, or are you going to shave it like Ollie, like they do Ollie?
I don't know that. I mean, a lot of people shave them, a lot of people don't. I guess it depends on how bad he sheds. I'm not sure, but I don't.
The shed is not the issue.
I don't
know
stickers. But I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of stickers around where we are.
Those fuckers will find them.
Just wait.
There's not. I'm telling you. I mean, there might be some over here, but
no. Rustin, I grew up in the same area you did. That fucking dog, cockleburs and shit. Places
When's the last time you seen a cocklebur on your foot or your leg pant?
You just wait. Next
Those
year,
fucking dogs will find
you
them.
wait until about December 15th. You're going to call me up and you're going to say, you're right. You're fucking right. Have I lied to you before?
No, you never have. But
about December 15th, you're going to say, God damn, you're right. That lab will run through that same spot and never get nothing on him. That dog's going to run through that motherfucker, and it's going to pick up. It's like a fucking blonde with fake tits running through a bar. They pick up men and money. That's what that dog's going to do.
I guess I'll be picking them out. I don't know.
You will. I'm telling you. Or you'll shave that motherfucker. It'll come out and look like freaking one of them hairless cats.
Naked mole rat.
Yeah. They'll be like, "What's wrong with your dog?" I just ain't no stickers on him now.
That's funny.
So do you have to train them differently? Is that why you sent him to a professional?
Yeah, so a guy named Tyler Davidson has hunted with me for a couple years. He came and hunted with me last year, and he actually had two Boykins. They're just neat little dogs, they're 40, 45 pounds,
Right.
50 if you get a big one, and they just got so much drive, and it's just something about seeing a 45-pound dog pick up a 15-pound crane and run back to the blind that just, and it makes it different for me. Everybody's got a lab. Labs are great. There's a lot of really good labs, but I think it'd be cool to have a really, really good Boykin. So.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Was this guy like the Boykin trainer of the world, or is he just a good trainer all in all?
He pointed me in the right direction of where he got his dogs from, and
Right.
Which led me to Blaine. And Blaine, after the research I've done, he's done some incredible things. There's only been 3 Boykins in the entire country that have ever completed all their national hunt titles, hunt tests, and everything. And my pup is out of one of them. He's got one of the 3. He doesn't have all 3, but he has one of the 3. I don't know. I just want something different.
So either they're not real smart dogs, and there's a few smart ones, or they're just not underused.
I think they're underused.
That's probably what I think.
I'd say that because I don't know if anybody's got a Boykin.
I saw a fucking dog at the airport the other day, a luggage sniffing dog. It was a freaking beagle looking thing.
Yeah, I think that's just for show. I noticed that as well.
I was like,
through
what
Atlanta,
the fuck?
Yeah, this dog looked absolutely retarded, sniffing everybody's bag.
And the guy's like, "That's a fucking beagle." Michelle goes,
He'll stop, mid sniff to lick his nutsack.
Yeah. He had this big old black lady. She's about 3 biscuits, and every kid would walk by and do the same thing. Oh, they want to pet the dog. Don't pet the dog.
Yeah.
Don't pet the dog. He don't like people.
That's that's somebody's pet that goes home every night.
Yeah, I bet that dog does like fucking being petted and rub his belly.
I guarantee you.
But she was, "Don't touch the dog. Don't touch the dog." Worthless old dogs. So, Dove King.
I don't really like it when you say that.
Why?
Because there's a lot of people that do a really good job with their dove hunting.
I never said there wasn't. There's a lot of fine people live in England, but there was just one king.
I'm just not sure what defines a king. The king would be the best, and I'm not going to throw myself in that category.
So this says right here, we'll get back to the beagles. The beagles are used for food and luggage.
This lady looked like she had confiscated a bunch of food. I'm telling you.
Beagles are used to sniff out drugs being transferred into the United States, which I don't know if there's food that's illegal to bring to the United States.
Yeah, they got all kinds of shit. You can't bring
you can't
nothing.
just bring random stuff over.
Yeah.
Really?
Especially through customs,
Well, that's what the beagle's there for. Fucker's not there for drugs. He's there for biscuits. He's there to sniff out that curry that you fucking put in a Tupperware bowl.
You're a brave soul to throw some curry in your bag. That's nasty, boy.
I almost got rid of your mom going into Mexico because she had some pretzels on the airplane. It's like, "Did you have any food and stuff?" And she's like, no. And then we got in the deal. She goes, "I have pretzels in my purse. I forgot about them."
You can't bring pretzels onto the...
That wouldn't have said shit to them. They meant taking bulk shit.
They make a big deal out of everything.
But she was all, after getting the deal, I thought, "Oh, fuck, you're fixing to go to jail for bringing snuggling."
But if you
smuggling pretzels that they give you on the fucking airlines.
Hey, try and go through the TSA with a bottle of water in your bag. They absolutely flip out.
No shit?
Yes.
Yeah, they lose their mind.
And then you get right through, and then you walk up to the counter when you get through there and pay $7 for a 16-ounce bottle of Ozark.
That's what's nuts. I've noticed that before, too, like lotions and shit.
Yeah,
and then you go to a fucking store and buy some, throw your shit away, and then you can buy it inside.
Throw it all away, just buy it in the airport. I'm sure that
2 or 3 ounces is all you can take on or some shit like that.
And no liquid.
I want to go back to the king talk.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So here we go. So king is a compliment. Now, there are a lot
I
of...
appreciate that.
There was a king of England, and that nutless fucker Prince Charles that likes ugly women, he's going to be the next king probably. His ex-wife was a hottie. The new one looks like a horse. Anyways, he's king. Well, there's a lot of good people in England. That don't mean there's not a lot of good guys out there that do dove hunts. I just call you the dove king because you hunt more hunters than anybody else I know. You're very, very successful.
With convenience, though.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Where you're at. If you had a strip club and you had 2 ugly women work for you and 100 of them are good looking, people said, "Hey, he's got all the hot women." Except for the fuckers that got dances from the 2 ugly women. You hunt a lot of dove hunters and you're very successful at it. So I'm giving you a compliment.
I'm accepting it.
There's a lot of fuck sticks out there. I ain't giving a compliment to them on their shit because they half-ass shit. You don't. You do a good job.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, I can tell you really appreciate this compliment because you're like, "Listen, I don't want to be called the king."
I just have.
If I called you the Dove Prince, would that not be fucking? That to me would not be very complimentary.
No, that sounds pretty queer, actually.
There you go. So see, I was trying to say, or the Duke of
The
Dove.
Duke of Dove hunting.
Yeah, would you want to be the Duke of Dove hunting?
That doesn't sound real great either.
That would be better than being called the Duchess.
Yeah.
So that's a compliment. So you should embrace it.
Them, though. Look at all the other people too. I don't think you can just throw me in the category of king.
I don't know anybody else that runs the Dove Hunters that's got the. You're trying to be a nice guy.
Well, I'm trying to be like Justin Hill, actually.
Justin's not always nice.
That's a fact.
I love him to death. He's one of my good friends, but he's not always nice about stuff. And he kills a lot of doves too, and hunts a lot of hunters.
Yeah, he does. He does a good job.
So I guess I could call one of you king and one prince, but see, I don't want to do that, so I just called you the king.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. We can call him the prince if you want.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that to him because that's not complimentary, and I'm not going to do that to him.
You're going to call me the king here, and then call him the king there.
No,
so
I'm just going to call Justin. But I would call him the king of Haskell County dove hunting, or Jones County.
I would say so. They have a lot around Abilene.
And does a good job. There's no doubt about that at all. I wouldn't get anybody on here and make fun of them or say something to them. It's another outfitter. Would I, Andy?
I don't think so.
I mean, I might make fun of their dating skills, their appearances, because I fat shame people all the time now.
Yeah.
But I would not I would not call someone on here to make fun of them as an outfitter. If I've got you on here, I think you're a pretty good, solid guy.
Touche.
Or I wouldn't call someone on here and say, listen, dumb fuck. All these people say you're a horrible outfitter, you do this and do shit. I wouldn't do that to someone. Because there's a guy in Arkansas that I could do that to, but I'm not going to.
Some of them deserve it.
In Arkansas.
The guy that likes the objects.
Oh, yeah. Well, we hadn't seen anything out of him in a while.
I think he's jumped states.
Oh, fuck, I would too. Some things you can't run away from.
You know who we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you hire him? No.
I sure didn't.
So how's Chumley doing now? Chumley is Rustin's ex-fat employee that's a good guy that I really like.
Who's no longer fat, actually.
That's
He's probably fat shaming with Jeff.
And he didn't do anything other than just change his eating
Here we go
habits
now. Rustin's throwing shade at me for getting surgery now.
Doing it the easy way.
He's like, God damn, you got the easy way. Chumley now. He went and did it the hard way.
I think all of it takes discipline, but he's done a really good job. He actually only weighs about 30 more pounds than I do right now, and he was almost 400.
I'm proud of Chumley. His name's Jared, but I call him Chumley because he reminds me of Chumley off Pawn Stars.
He's going to be grinning from ear to ear when he hears his name on there.
I like Chumley. I always have.
I think he's listened to every one of your podcasts.
That makes me feel good. So he's down. He's lost a lot of weight. Is he a fat shamer now? Does he notice everybody else that's got weight problems? Because I do now.
It's given him an incredible boost of confidence, though.
So does he think he's swinging the big cock now?
Yeah, pretty close. No, it's really nice to see him because he's just been, shy his whole life and never really.
No, he's blooming.
He doesn't. When you see somebody that looks good in a restaurant, you're gonna let him know now. He's strutting a little bit.
He's peacocking.
Hey, this works for him too.
I'm glad. I'm proud for him. I am.
I am too.
I mean, as someone that had weight problem for the last 10 years of my life, before that I didn't have one really, and I was always shy my whole life too. So I understand how he is.
Some of us are. I'm more fortunate than most because I had my colon removed. Right in college, so. I can eat what I want, drink what I want, and, I'm going to stay a hefty 210, 215 my whole life. So
well, I
might die at 55, but.
Well, there's a lot of weight loss is a tough deal. Mine, I don't care about the looks. I just want to try to be healthier, and that's why I did it. And I'm proud for somebody like Jared that's younger. Michelle gets on to me because I try to point out people that have weight problems now and say, hey, you need to get hold of this.
You don't try, you do.
I just say, hey, I did this. I had surgery, and it's not an easy surgery. It's not hard. But, man, it'll make you feel better, and it'll make you healthier, and you need to do that.
Jared's dad, actually, my dad passed away last year, and then Jared's dad passed away about 4 months after that, and his dad was a real bad diabetic.
Yeah.
I really think that was a lot of the motivation behind it.
That's good. I'm proud for him.
I am, too. I really am.
Listen, if you're a dude and you get in the shower and you can't see your dick, you need to lose some weight.
Yeah.
Nobody will put that on a poster, but that's what they should say.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we all think, right?
Yeah. I know some black gentlemen whose peckers probably go to their knees, and they still can't see it. So you need to lose some weight if you're in that situation. Was that wrong for me to say? Be honest. That's not a bad thing to say.
No.
I mean,
I guess it's a
black
compliment.
guys are more endowed than white guys are. It's a known fact.
That is a fact.
I mean, if you was ever in the locker room, you know that.
Yeah.
You know, I never knew a black guy that was ashamed to take a shower in front of everybody else.
No.
And if I had swinging the shit that they would, I would too.
Speaking of black guys in showers, this is a little bit random, but this is a good story.
This is going to be a hell of a story right
Hell
here.
of a segue.
We went off to Afghanistan, and now we're going here.
In junior high, I went to City View in junior high for a couple years, and
Was Coach Hicks your coach there?
he was, yeah, he was.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good. Well, I actually liked a lot of those coaches there. We were in practice one day. I played safe. You play everything when you're at a school that size. You know, quarterback, defense, safety.
Andy knows.
I was a deep snapper. Everything. Yeah, I mean, Knox City, right? So.
Yep.
Anyways, I hit this dude. There's only like one black person in this whole school, you know, or maybe two, and I hit this dude at the end of practice. He didn't get a chance to hit me back. You know, carried it over to the locker room. I'm in the shower, down in nothing, you know, washing my hair because I got to go to class. Mm-hmm. About the time I'm, washing my hair, I got soap running in my eyes, and this dude comes out of nowhere and just absolutely whoops my ass in the middle of the shower. Butt naked. I couldn't see anything.
What are we in prison?
I couldn't see anything because I had soap in my eyes. And it was absolutely terrible. And I didn't even get to whoop him back, you know. It's like
you got to finish your shower.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
That's an awkward way to be fighting, too.
Yeah, the whole day you're thinking about, like, hey, what am I going to do to get this guy back? Because his dick was rubbing on my face like 24 hours ago, you know. And
I got teabagged and it wasn't cool.
No, anyways, a couple of days later, there's this kid that we called him Bingo. It's just the only other black kid at City View, you know. And he'd asked me, he's like, hey, you want me to get, this kid's name was Miguel. He said, hey, you want me to get Miguel back? And I was like, I'm not going to ask you to, but if you do, I'd like it.
I'll buy your lunch all week.
24 hours later, right after practice, the very next morning, this dude walks through the door, and this dude just let him have it. It was interesting. That's the only fight I've ever been in my whole life. Got whooped and had somebody's pecker drug across my face. It was great.
Hey, usually it'll teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like fucking San Quentin is what that sounds like.
So have you seen Miguel since then?
Paid the other black guy to whoop up on the other black guy.
Miguel transferred. I think went to Burke Burnett. I haven't seen him in a long time. But, I mean, it was one of them deals. You know, you're in the 7th grade. 3 days later, you're high-fiving and best friend, you know. I don't know.
Why are you high-fiving him? He put his nuts on my forehead.
I mean, you got to get along with these people. You're on the same freaking sports team all the way through school, you know. Got to get along, pass the ball, you know.
So it wouldn't be awkward to see him now.
No, it'd be kind of funny, probably.
You teabagged me 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I didn't see anything because I had soap in my eyes.
Yeah.
It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. There was nothing fair about that.
Fights aren't fair.
Yeah. So, was he in the shower also? And then he's just like, fuck it, this is where we're doing it?
I think he just saw me at a very vulnerable moment.
But why would he get naked if he knows he's going to beat you up?
I'm sure that he was taking a shower too. I don't really remember. You know, that was.
I'm fixing to take my clothes off and whoop his ass.
That was almost 15 years ago now.
Fuck it, if he's naked, I'm gonna be naked.
What are you doing? I'm taking my drawers off. I'm gonna beat his ass.
Go beat a white boy's ass in the shower.
It may have been exaggerated a little bit. I don't vividly remember a dick sliding across my face, but I'd assume that since I was naked in the shower, that this guy was too. You know.
Have you told this story many times?
No, I've told.
Well,
probably
you picked a hell of a time to do it now.
I think 2 or 3 people. You know.
It's gonna have a little bit more people than that's heard it now.
Yeah, no,
you're gonna be referenced this all fucking winter long.
Hey, that's all right.
Somebody's gonna come in and say, "Hey, you ever had a dick on your face?" And be like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
I've been in a lot worse. That's the worst that happened to me all year. I'll be in good shape.
McGill might be one of them fuckers that's calling the cops on you for your dove hunters.
It might be.
You tell that cocksucker I've already put my dick on his face. I'll do it again.
If he wants to see this dick again, just keep hunting behind.
I don't think Miguel's gonna hear this podcast. To be honest,
You might be surprised.
Fuck,
You don't think Miguel's a hunter?
I don't. No, I don't. I think he's already been to jail a couple times.
I went to school with some McGills then too, like that.
Yeah. And I may be thinking of somebody else that's been to jail a couple times, but hey, I've been to jail too, so.
I haven't.
Yeah.
What did you go to jail for?
He does not want to get into this on here.
Yeah.
It's public record. I'll look it up right now.
You probably
won't
be able to
find it.
Yeah.
Oh, one of those deals.
It's been expunged.
You were a young kid?
No.
No, I wasn't young.
I'm going to do you a favor, and we're going to skip this.
Well, it doesn't matter. I didn't do anything wrong.
I understand, but I would. If you don't talk about it, you go ahead. It's your deal.
It's expunged, so
it's your life, not mine.
It doesn't matter.
So
I'm trying to give you some advice here.
We're skipping it. Listen to Jeff's advice.
Yeah, we'll just skip it then. That's fine. If anybody wants to know, you can
No, we're gonna
message
take
me
this out.
directly, drycreekoutfitters@gmail.com.
Mikey be messaging you now. He wants to know what's going on.
Good luck with the public record. I don't think you can find it on there. You should try so you can put my mugshot up on the deal. It's kind of funny.
That would be fun.
Now you're opening up a big can of
If
worms.
we find your mugshot, we're gonna get it printed and like have it back here behind us.
That'd be all right. Throw it up on that big screen too. While you're at it.
Be like the O.J. Simpson one, where it just stays there forever.
Let's see. It says Rustin Morgan arrested. We'll see. Nope, 1947. Not you.
Yep. There's a Rustin.
This is a Justin Morgan. So
Yeah,
this is
you're
it's pulling some.
You probably aren't gonna find it. I was able to.
You got a good attorney.
I didn't even need that. No, there was a lot of wrongdoing by some local people that made that deal fall apart real easy.
There you go.
Listen, Michelle, when I try to give you some advice, you don't listen.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, I would not.
Hey, you keep drilling me with questions, I'm going to answer them.
I'm not asking you any questions.
I've answered every question.
Andy's
he's
a
asked me.
dumbass sometimes. I've told you. But
I
you've heard me.
said we were skipping it.
Hey, I don't have any bad blood through anybody. It's all good. We're rocking and rolling.
So
my most successful years have been after that. I'm good.
Okay. We've gotten completely off now. I was going to ask something else. I don't even remember what the hell it was now. I'm confused by this.
Not even on there.
Let's talk about the refuge
positive.
that's right to the west of Wichita Falls.
Huh.
Is that increasing? Because it looks like they're clearing a bunch more land. Is that him doing that?
Well, that's actually why I got arrested too, by the way.
Oh shit!
You want to talk about it? Let's talk
Just
about it.
fucking say it, because I mean,
we've
Jesus
already went
Christ.
on. So go ahead, tell the story now.
I'm just picking the jab. No, really, we were filming we had one of the local farmers had brought in a guy with a helicopter, 2016, 17, and they were going around on a bunch of the local farmers shooting pigs and coyotes and all that. So I kind of got bound up in it because I saw an opportunity to make some money. And back then I wasn't real wise to the whole TV show thing. Like I'm thinking, publicity is good, whatever. We were doing something with actually one of the film editors for National Geographic was with us, and another guy with His and Hers Outdoors, and we were going around shooting pigs, taking video, basically trying to do like some kind of detriment, like how detrimental hogs are to the world,
like a
and the ground.
documentary that
Right.
shows the other side.
Well, we're up in the air, flying. We're flying a bunch of stuff. I have 150,000 acres leased around Wichita Falls. Like I got a lot of country. Well, there just happened to be this wide open wheat field that had a bunch of pigs, out in it. And one of the things that we wanted to get while we were in the air was a bunch of pigs running across the wheat field. So I was like, you know what? This isn't mine. I don't have permission to hunt it. Public airspace, or so I thought. And so
There is public airspace.
right. Well, there's some detail to that.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so we put the guns between our legs and rocked on, took video of these pigs. Well, in the process, the landowner's son saw us flying over there. Well, he can only assume that since this helicopter's been around for 2 weeks shooting pigs, that's probably what we were doing on his place, right?
Right.
So I get a text from the game warden while I'm in the air, and he says, hey, I need you to go land back at the trailer. We need to talk. So we all get there, we land, visit a little bit. He said, what were you doing across the road? I said, well, filming some hogs. And he's like, you weren't shooting anything? No. I said, actually, I got proof right here. Popped the SD card out the side of this camera and gave it to him. He's like, oh, okay, well, cool. No big deal. We're packing up. He goes back to the office and meets up with some other game wardens and the landowner, who happens to be an attorney, who happens to own the refuge that you're discussing. And
Oh, see, I didn't realize this was all on his stuff.
yes.
Well, this is a good segment to it,
Anyways,
or segue.
so they go and sit down and visit about the laws and what can he stick us for and whether we should get away with it or not or whatever. And he was so adamant about us getting locked away that he just dug every rule in the book up about whatever. So just so you know, if you're filming wildlife in the state of Texas, you have to be above a certain level. And they were able to pull the GPS coordinates to see what our elevation was, and we were below that elevation. I don't remember if it was 250 feet, 300
Right.
feet, 500 feet. I'm not
But there's
sure.
a boundary that you were lower than.
If
To
I was over
film.
my land, I can do whatever I want. But since I was over somebody else's and I was technically harassing wildlife.
Oh, pig though is not wildlife.
Was that day?
But it's not wildlife. It's
See, and that's such a gray area because pigs are, because you don't have to have a license to
they're a
hunt them
nuisance
now.
animal. It's not
But,
considered.
but
a
at the
game.
same time, if you so can you shoot a pig on a county road?
no, because you can't shoot off a public road.
So you'd get like a gun charge there. You wouldn't get a
You wouldn't be
game.
hunting off a public road. It would be discharging a firearm off a public road,
I
I
don't know.
guess.
Pigs are such a fucking gray area.
But I don't understand the part of you. I don't see how you broke a law if you weren't shooting there, and I don't know
Right.
the law on that. I'm not going to say I don't. I don't know
and
that.
And honestly, if there wouldn't have been any wildlife at all, I mean, according
just
to
been
the state of
filming a wheat
Texas,
field?
that if I'd have just been filming a wheat field, he couldn't have done anything. I could have pulled over on the side of the road. I could have walked up to his barbed wire fence, took as many photos as I wanted, flown at whatever height I wanted, whatever, to get out of it.
Well,
But because there were
obviously-
wildlife involved, the state was involved, and then there's an elevation. The reason that the law is implemented is for high fences is the reason it's implemented. Is because random people with a helicopter, like, oh, there's some big deer on this ranch over here. Let's
Right.
fly over there and look at them, and then you run them
Right.
into a fence and kill them. You know,
Right.
that was the idea behind it. Anyway, so game warden comes back out, and he said, well, I'm gonna have to take all y'all to jail. And I just kind of laughed because
That's what I would have said too.
I'm
Laughed.
I'm friends with the guy, you know. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, apparently, and he explained to me, you know, apparently this is a rule and this is a rule, and I'm just doing my job. And I was
Fuck,
like,
you're gonna be late to Samurai for lunch.
no, this is 11:30 at night.
Oh shit.
Anyways, so he said, just unload everything out of your truck, just load up in your truck, and just drive down to the jail. And I was doing great when I got down there. I walked in the front door. Never been to jail before, right? The first thing on the door.
There's 3 of us here, and only one of us has been to jail.
That's me. Anyway, I walk.
I mean, I've been to jail and got people out many times and signed papers for them, but I've never been on your side of the deal.
I was doing great because I just knew, like, in my mind, I was like, I didn't do anything wrong, you know.
Yeah, they're
And
sticking with the technical.
I walked in the door, and there's this big sign on this first door whenever I walk in. It says, remember, sex in jail is a crime.
Goddamn McGill's gonna be here.
Fucking, and then you take your first shower, and there's Miguel again.
So the pilot, this video producer, my best friend, which I don't disclose his name on here, but
This is
So
where
we
Clay
all
Reed
walk
always
in.
tells everybody's names.
yeah, you know,
He
I don't-
says he's not going to, and then he tells a story,
Yeah.
and then the name
No,
comes out.
and I just respect their privacy a little bit, but Clay's funny, man. You get him on here, he cracks me up. I want to say that those are probably the only podcasts that I've listened like through and through because I think he's hilarious. But anyways, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Sex in jail.
Anyway, so sex in jail is a crime. So I'm walking in and I'm like, man, I'm about to get strip shirts. They're gonna set me in here. It's 11:30 at night. Ain't nobody gonna come help me get out of here. Well, luckily, it's a small town. You know the judge. You know everything. I don't want to say any names of anybody, but anyways, long story short, got some photos taken. I was cheesing in my mugshot. I'm gonna pull it up here in a minute on my phone. I was cheesing in my mugshot, and just because I knew, I didn't really do anything wrong, and I knew it wasn't gonna stand up. And anyways, so we got our photos, got booked, went home, and still to this day, other than a letter that said that it got expunged, I have never heard a thing about it.
Now, why did they expunge it if you broke a law by flying too high
Low.
or too low? There obviously you must not have broke the law.
Well, I mean, I could go into detail about some of the people that were involved in the tongues that were being pulled on to avoid some things, but I don't want to do that.
So there were some favors called to keep you out of trouble then.
Not by me, but maybe
By somebody
maybe
else.
maybe because they felt obligated.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. So
To go into greater detail, I actually then found out that the land that I was flying over was bound up in a contract that I had with a landowner, and Onyx showed that it was owned by this guy that had me arrested when it was actually owned by somebody else. That
So he
I
didn't have
had
the
all his
authority.
land lease. So technically, it comes out that I'm actually flying my land. I didn't know I was flying my land. I thought I was flying somebody else's. So I'm just like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that, But comes out in the wash that I actually was flying over some of my leased land per GPS coordinates, and it just hush hush.
Right.
Never heard anything about
So
it.
anyways, they're expanding the refuge nowadays.
Oh yeah.
That is really that is crazy how people now when I say refuge, there's an area outside Wichita Falls that one guy has, and he's got wheat planted on top, and he's holding a bunch of geese, and nobody can hunt them, and it's getting to be a bigger issue all the time.
Yeah, I mean, last year not so much because I didn't see many.
We didn't have the birds because the winter.
I tell you what, that guy holds more. I mean, there's
years that he winters a lot of birds.
He winters 100,000 every year generally.
And they just sit there and nobody can do nothing with them.
Widgeon, geese, snow geese.
Yeah. So to get back to this one more time, did you got a letter that everything was dropped?
Yeah, everything was from the DA.
Just
said, hey, you're good to go. Everything.
How soon was that after all this had played out? Was it pretty quick, or did you have to wait months?
It was 24 months that I knew nothing was going to happen, but I knew pretty quick after I got arrested that nothing was going to happen. There were some phone calls made that gave me a lot of confidence in knowing that where I stood. I mean, I run a business over there. I'm not trying to crush my reputation, and that was honestly one of the toughest things I've ever been through because I'm trying to build this business that I passionately care about, and I know that I'm doing everything that I possibly can correct, 25 years old, and then, you wake up to text messages from farmers asking what the hell I got myself into and blah, blah. I mean, there was a lot of damage control.
What did
but people, the good prevails always.
What was your bond?
$0. I'm not going into any more detail on it. That's all I can tell you. It didn't cost me a penny to get out, neither did it cost anybody else there. That's all I can say.
They PR bond you then?
Yep.
Okay, well, that happens a lot, so. No, I'll go with that. That's what she
we do know that sex in jail is a crime.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Did you actually go in a cell?
No, I didn't get strip shirts. I didn't go in a cell.
You didn't have to go, so they just fingerprinted you and you walked out the door.
Mug shot and you're gone.
Yeah, I got to show you this mug shot. Yeah. I love it. That's good stuff.
There's a lot of that goes on, though, because they don't want to deal with people that are not a flight risk. And this is where the bond people that'll bitch, not the bond people, but the people that think there shouldn't be a bail for, well, they get out and they don't have to do a bond. Well, yeah, but the motherfucker ain't gonna go do nothing again.
Right.
He's not a public problem.
You are a young little Thundercat there.
Yeah, I mean, what's the date on it? No, it's 24. So this was in 2016, but I was obviously very confident in where that was going, or I wouldn't have been cheesing.
Or drunk.
Yeah, I definitely was not drunk. Jeff, I've been drunk 3 times my whole life.
Well, that could have been that night.
You don't even look like the same guy right there.
No. I've changed.
Beard and
manage wild.
Managing wildlife from an aircraft.
Exotic. That's crazy. I never even heard of that before.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you couldn't fly over a high fence ranch. You can fly over a high fence ranch, but you can't take a video.
Well, and if it's yours, you can do whatever you want.
No,
but I didn't fly over your neighbor's high fence ranch at 50 feet and run a deer into the fence, or you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
You can do that. You just can't film it.
I mean, no, legally you can't do either. But the filming the only thing the filming did was give them evidence that that's what I was doing.
I thought they said you couldn't fly over and take film of wildlife.
If you film wildlife, you're managing wildlife.
Right, but if you're not filming it, you can fly over it, right?
Unless you run a deer into somebody's, a certain elevation. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't.
I want to follow up on this because I don't think there's a law against flying any certain elevation over someone's property. Now,
they wouldn't have fucking done all this, Jeff.
Over a house. No, they did it because a rich attorney.
If there wasn't a huge landowner involved, and there wasn't wildlife involved, nothing would have happened.
Nothing would have happened.
If you'd have been flying over Mary Jo Best's 20 acres, she would have waved at you and said, "Hey."
Well, no, even if she'd have called the cops, they wouldn't have done anything.
No, it's just because this dude meant something to the
police. It's not what you know; it's who you know.
Yeah, I mean, the dude pays a lot of taxes. He's got 17,000 acres in Archer County.
That's crazy. That is absolutely nuts how that worked out. Yeah. But I never had heard of that before.
It was a great life lesson, really. I learned a lot from it. I mean,
but you didn't do nothing wrong.
No, but I learned a lot about just keeping your mouth shut,
You obviously have not learned that.
Hey, this is for people's entertainment, and that's why I'm here.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
That is right.
There's a lot of people that would love. There's a lot of people listening to this that would love to twist that story up and go tell somebody tomorrow afternoon.
We'll see there.
Somebody will.
And now they can't because
and that's all right.
Well, you explained what happened, so now they can't.
There's 10 people in Wichita Falls listening to this podcast.
There's more than that.
I know. There's a whole lot more in Wichita Falls.
There's probably 10 people that hate me in Wichita Falls listening to this podcast.
Oh, I wish I only had 10.
I got a lot more. I promise.
Ain't it funny that we have people that hate us that listen to this, and that's what to me that's the biggest compliment in the world.
It's the same thing with people that keep up with you on social media. These people that talk crap behind your back about what you're doing, and they're the first one to like your photo on Instagram.
Yeah. So,
which is kind of flattering, except we all got our different opinions, I guess.
So, what's your thoughts on the season this year. Are you predicting cold or hot winter? Are you even going to take a chance on that shit?
Oh man, I mean, we all have our predictions. I think that we're in for a pretty warm September. Personally, I don't think we've seen our hot yet. Personally, I don't know. Maybe we have. I don't know. You can get me lying. That's just my take.
It's opinion on this. There's no lie or something. Now Damon Lane disagrees with you on that.
I hope I'm wrong.
Do you know who Damon Lane is?
I don't.
Weatherman at Oklahoma City, and he said yesterday. He said Oklahoma City has never had a year that it didn't reach 100 degrees. Pretty sure it was ever. And he said this year, it's not going to happen. He goes, because the cold fronts are already lining up. He said we won't reach 100 degrees.
It's got to say something that there's actually huntable numbers of teal in Wichita County right now.
And August 15th.
Yeah, I mean that's got to say something. Something's going on up north that's moving them minds,
But it's hot up north.
For sure.
Like in the Dakotas, it's hot.
Yeah, but a lot of those birds.
Why they're coming down here?
Yeah, cool off a little bit.
Right?
But a lot of those birds though go with fronts. And we've already had north winds 2 or 3 times already. What's the high? I'm going to look it up right now, what the high is in North Dakota.
What do you want, Minot? Now, are you going to go off my numbers? So, listen to this. 100 today with smoke.
Was this Minot?
Yes. 95 on Wednesday. 68 on Friday. Ooh. So, there's a big front coming.
That ought to bring some dove, too.
That should.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, they're going to, they might get some rain, too, if it ain't too late.
Smoke.
But, that is the problem, or not a problem. That is a big front to get in the 60s for a high in August still up there.
Yeah, it'll still be August.
So that's going to push down. So we're starting to see the north wind already turn this way. Every year as an outfitter, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a cold winter.
I hope you're right.
But I did that every year, and last year was wrong. This summer I was way off because I said it was going to be hot, and the guy. The smartest guy in weather is Joe Bastardi. Would you say, Andy, is pretty close to that?
It's pretty close.
And Joe Bastardi says we're going to have a major polar vortex again this year.
When did he say that? I follow him.
Probably about a month or so, 6 weeks ago. But I'm hoping it's going to be November.
Oh, man, it would tickle me to death.
Oh, yeah.
Not in February.
No.
I do think I remember seeing that because I think I remember saying it's probably going to be in fucking February or March like it was.
Yeah, but I hope it's in November.
November, Thanksgiving time. Woo.
Oh, that would be a fucking blessing right there.
I think like you do because we've not seen the hot weather and I'm snake bitten.
You're just going by the averages. We always have a hot
I think
sometime.
September is going to be just you're going to melt your nuts off.
Well,
because I think in the law of averages.
Yes, Damon Lane says that they can somehow see 10, 15 days the fronts. They can't always see how cold it's going to be or not. Right. But they're already seeing we're going to have 3 fronts like in 15 days. And if that happens and it progressively gets cooler all the time, it's harder to warm back up. Right. I've seen it 100 degrees in September lots of times.
Last year,
I've seen it hotter than fuck during opening weekend of dove season before.
Oh, I have too, and some of those have been the best years I've ever had too.
Yeah, when it's hot, the birds are.
Yeah.
We used to, historically, back in the 90s and 80s, we didn't really get a north wind until after September 1st. Or right around, usually it's August 28th, September 4th or 5th would be the first really good north wind. Well, fuck, we've had it in July.
Right.
And we've had a north wind again here the other day, and we're supposed to have them.
Look at October last year. I mean, that was wild.
I would take that if they do it again in November, too.
Please. The
problem with that was all we got for a long time.
Yeah.
It was the October front, and then it was January. It was New Year's, I think.
Now, we talk every day in the winter, especially during hunting season.
Yeah.
Me, I talk to you and Justin more than I do anybody.
Right.
It's an average day. We find out what's going on in the world, blah, 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 blah. So we know what's going on hunting-wise.
Right.
We talk a lot and keep up. We work together on a lot of stuff. We help each other out a lot. And if more outfitters would get along and communicate the way we do, our life would be so much better.
Yeah, no doubt. Hands down. That's why I've always kind of, I don't know. I think a lot of them are starting to get on board with that, to be honest. Like I've seen, I don't know if we were the trendsetter on that or not, but there's some people that have figured it out that, especially when you're dealing with somebody who actually is competitive and somebody that's, willing to lose money on things so that he can make more on others. And when people started realizing that we each other's got to make the world go around, you don't work together, that gives somebody an opportunity to cut in. I mean, getting along is the way to go.
Yeah, we live in a very exclusive area out here where we are because there's not a lot of room for someone else to come in.
Right.
But in a lot of other places, it's not that way.
Right. I could see, because I don't know real well, but like Lubbock and Amarillo, you hear about the people over there. I think one of the benefits we had back home is there's one other outfit there that I would consider that similar, Muddy Water Outfitters, Mike Lambert and them. I worked for him for a couple years before I split off and did my own thing, and that's a whole nother story. But we've since got along, and one of the things that helped us a lot is we didn't have Onyx in Wichita or Archer County until like 24 months ago. So we built our businesses based off of personal relationships and family, and had all these connections before anybody else had the resources to make them on their own. So it's just locked up. Like,
do y'all have people coming out there now, extra guys starting?
Every year someone pops up. Every single season someone pops up. They don't last long.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I've seen 3 or 4 new outfitters pop up in Oklahoma this year.
Something about that place, man. It's wow.
I don't understand. It just blows my mind because,
especially since the hunting hadn't been as good as it was 4 or 5 years ago.
No, but I don't understand how you can sell hunts if you don't have some shit locked down.
I don't do anything day rate ever. I quit doing that 3 years ago. Very seldomly, with the exception of the help that you've given me and some of the hunting I've done, up in Oklahoma. I do not pay a day rate for anything. If I suspect that it's going to be good, I'm paying for it, which is why nobody will ever touch my stuff, which gives, someone like Mike a sense of security too, because if he needs help, I'm going to help him and vice versa. So we lock it down together. We agree who's leasing what, who's spending what money, and then we control it all. Nobody's touching it. It's not happening.
No, but man, there's so many guys are selling hunts. I'm like, where the fuck are you hunting at? And I'll have 4 or 5 of them tell me they're hunting the same guy's place. Y'all got a real issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a problem, and a lot of the, farmers want to see, in my opinion, someone who's willing to take on some risk to be successful. And those are the people that you build relationships with that want to be with you and do business with you for a long time. Because if a lot of them are like, man, thanks for the $5,000 for this awesome dove field, but I don't know if I'm going to have any dove. And I'm like, yeah, but if you do have dove and it's good,
right,
I'm going to kill it. And if you don't, that's part of it. What are you going to do next year? You're going to lease it to me because I'm going to take care of you. So that's my approach.
I season lease 90% of everything we have. I've got places I can get on for a 100-mile circle here. I can call. I know somebody, or I'll know somebody like you that I can call that will help me out, and I can help them if they need help. But the guys that have started these hunting businesses, I don't know how they sleep at night. Yeah. I mean, I really don't know how they go to bed. I saw a new guy that's hunting somewhere up Oklahoma close to where we hunt. I'm thinking, where are you going to get on that someone else is not fighting all the time? I understand there's some opportunity if we have a hard winter. But if there's not, there's certain places that are going to have birds and certain places that aren't. What are you going to do on days that if we don't have a winter or something?
And it's all, to me, it's all about what's a good night of rest worth to you. Go to bed every night knowing that when you leave the lodge in the morning, no matter what you see flying in the sky, what you see landing here or there, wherever you're going, that either the person that you get along with and do business with has it or you have it. Like you just know, like when you send somebody out to scout for the day that you're paying $150 a day to run around in a truck and find stuff for you, he's not going to call you and say, hey, do you know this guy? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I know that guy. I got at least good. We'll hunt there tomorrow. It just simplifies things. It makes everything go a lot smoother, a lot more comfortable.
I can honestly say I haven't had very many nights I went to bed worried anymore. I know days are going to be bad hunts and stuff. We're going to have days that aren't going to work. I mean, we know that. But I don't go to bed. There's very few times I've went to bed and think we're going to have a horrible, horrible, horrible day. There's some days I know that, boy, the wind's not blowing. It's a full moon, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have a tough morning probably. It's hunting. It's going to happen sometimes. But I don't go to bed at night very often worrying about us having an opportunity to where the birds are going to be at. You do?
Fuck yes.
Well, you nervous about everything.
No, not
coming from the guy that's got to go sit out in the field with him and the guy that sits in the office.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But he's got to take the money, so.
That's the hardest part.
Well, I don't know. There's been some days.
There's days I wouldn't want to be you guys sitting there all day long, but when I have guys that have had a bad day or something, then you're the one that's got to collect from them. But we level the playing field on our side more than not.
But what you said, and you're right, is you said you don't worry about there being birds.
Right.
You are correct there. But there are some days where I'm just like, we're going to see them.
No, well, but we're
that's
not, but
that's going to be the highlight of the day.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to
have good days and bad days. I understand that it's hunting, but when we go to bed at nighttime, we know that we've got a place that's got birds, and we're going to be in an area that
we have a shot.
We've got safe spots because of the way our roost lakes are around here. And when I say safe spots, we've got places that are going to have birds flying over them every single day all season long, and so we know that. And we do in Oklahoma, and we do here. I've got both places. And when someone starts a new outfitter, I had a guy I know started outfitter, and he's like, hey, what would you do, blah, blah, blah. My advice is you need to find you a place off of a roost. You need to find a place that they're going to fly off of north, west, east, and south off of a roost, where if you don't have nothing else to hunt, you can hunt there, and you're going to get some traffic. You may not kill birds, and you may kill a few birds, and there's days like that we've shot a fucking full limit.
Right.
But at least you can be in the game.
Yeah, we have some places like that in Oklahoma that I season lease, and not because there's ever even been a goose in there, but you're right. You know, you get in a predicament where you at least got to show them something.
You go there.
You at least got to work for it. You know, that's not your first option, but you want to see something, you know, it's hunting, man. It's just hunting.
Give yourself a chance.
The first year we hunted in Oklahoma, I went up there for 5 days to scout before season started. It didn't matter if I went in June or July and August. You can't scout birds in June, July, or August. There's nothing to fucking see.
No.
You can just see a field with potential.
Right.
But it was foggy 5 days in a fucking row. Foggy, foggy, foggy. Fuck, I was so fucking lost. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? You can roll down the window, stop on a foggy road and listen. But when it's foggy, they don't make much noise even. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But once I learned and learned what it is, well, now I know that if it's a foggy day, I know where I can go. I've got areas that I can go hunt, and
that's all about the time you have in it. You know.
Well, the experience has got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But when I went up there at first, I didn't have all that 25 years experience I had in Texas under my belt. Didn't do me any fucking good.
Right. Well, it's just so different.
It is.
Yeah, different.
And it's a learning curve. But that's why I tell every guy and man, everybody you see them all the time. I seen 2 last week. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? And I look up, I'm thinking, they're hunting in the same fucking area. There ain't that many fucking birds where they're at. And I'm thinking, what are they telling these people? You know, how can you sell somebody a hunt over someone that's been in business a long time? What are you going to tell them?
I think what gets me too, and you've dealt with it too, but the amount of outfits that will pretend they're another outfit because they know the outfit they work for doesn't have a good reputation to get permission to do something.
Yes.
There's so much deceitfulness that goes on it, and landowners that, you know, never get paid for stuff that run it for a good guy, you know.
One of my good friends in Oklahoma called me the other day. He's a farmer. He's like, this guy keeps calling me all the time. And now he's got this other guy calling me and another guy. 3 different guys have called about the same shit. You know, and he goes, how are you fucking with them? You know, they're not going to. They're comfortable. They know what they have. They know what they're dealing with. And it's professionalism and just getting along. And
right.
But these guys that start these new deals, it shocks me every day I see one of them. Because I remember when I started my business, I was embarrassed the first time I went to a hunting show because I didn't feel like I was worthy of being in there selling hunts. Well, I didn't have the press shirts and all the good.
Have you seen the people in them now?
Oh yeah, it was. You went to the Trophy Hunters, didn't you?
I did.
That's right, because we talked about Starbucks. Fuckers, I can't believe they're closed in the evening. Anyways, me and Michelle left the Omni Hotel, walked downstairs across the street, paid to get into the Trophy Hunter show. First time I've ever done that in my life. $24 for 2 of us.
Right.
We were back at our hotel room in an hour after walking down every aisle.
Yeah.
I didn't even have anybody to stop and visit with hardly.
No, well, and I think COVID messed with that a bunch. You know, I think a lot of people, like yourself, went over there. You know, last year you didn't do anything. You weren't sure you were going to do it in 2020 anyways.
I wasn't doing 2020. We were done.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like, there's no good. There's tire kick. There's people who just don't have anything to do on Saturday. That's why they're in there. There's nobody in there spending money. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't.
Was it crowded when y'all were there?
Not really.
There was nobody in there, and we were there at 3:30 in the afternoon. Yeah. It was dead.
Yeah, it's not what it used to be. I mean, social media has changed things. Online shopping has changed things. I mean, your podcast has changed things. You don't need to go to stuff like that.
No, we wasn't going to go, but I wanted to be. I was nosy. I told Michelle, I don't like to miss out on anything. I don't. And so I wanted to see what was there. So I'm thinking, you know what? If this fucker's packed and they got the shit back again, I may want to come do this next year just to be here. Because I don't want to lose out on somebody that would have done something with me and they thought, well, fuck, they're not here, but we'll book with this guy. Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. I don't think there'll be another Trophy Hunter show.
There will.
I don't think so.
I think they're going to. It's going to be, they're going to have to.
They're just going to get
They're
cheaper.
going to just keep fucking throwing money at it.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. There was not 4 outfitters there that
they were getting
waterfowl.
I do know, talking to somebody there, that a lot of them guys were getting double the space for the price of what it used to be. You know,
I gave them some advice, and I damn sure am not an expert on anything. But this is the advice I gave them because they called and talked to me about stuff. I told them, I said, what you need to do, you need to pick 30 outfitters that are within a couple hundred miles of the Metroplex. Or anywhere in Texas or Oklahoma for that matter. That's really what you need to do. And I said, you need to give them a booth. Well, why would we do that? Well, I'll tell you why you do that. If you take an outfitter like me and you give me a booth, first of all, I'm not going to go if you give me a booth. But if we go to a hunting show, time we get through there and we eat out and I get 3 hotel rooms at the Omni for 3 nights, we're going to spend $4,000 to $5,000. Well, we went to Michigan. That's the same fucking amount of money we spent in Michigan on vacation.
Right.
So I'd rather take my family and go do shit.
Yeah,
but I
what's
told
it
them,
worth?
I said, if you give 30 outfitters a booth, a 10 by 10 booth, and you got tons of booths in there because fucking third of that thing was empty anyways, those people are going to have 20 to 30 people come down, groups of guys that are going to come down just to visit with them.
Yep.
I could send out a group email or something to my clients and say, hey, we're going to be at the Trophy Hunters booth 1064. Come down and see us, blah, 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 blah. We're going to have people come down and see us. And they're going to visit. The other people that are buying beef jerkies, they're going to get more traffic, so they're going to be happier. Then you're going to get people that are going to come walking through there, and they're going to be, man, there's all kinds of outfitters here. Everybody's happy. Right. But they don't want to give 30 booths away because they think they're losing out. Well, the booths they're giving, those people ain't coming back.
Yeah. You're like me. The only reason I really go is just to keep in touch with people that that hunt with you. I mean, you run into people that have hunted with you, and just PR. You get along with everybody, and I like to go visit. And I doubt Justin Hill will ever do it again.
Justin won't do it again. We talked about it on the way down. Roger was there, and I went by to see Roger, and he wasn't at his booth, and so I would have spoken and said hey to him for probably would end up talking 10 or 15 minutes. He wasn't there. Or he wasn't in his booth. He had a booth there, and he's the only person I knew. There was a couple of outfitters, waterfowl guys I'd never heard of, which you don't mean shit. I don't know all of them.
Right.
But I didn't know anybody there. I saw I didn't see one person that I talked to normally. There's a bunch of outfitters that I've known for years that I usually see, and I thought I'd stop and visit with them. None of them were there.
Right.
There wasn't hardly any of the old timers there, which we were the only. Matter of fact, there's not anybody that was doing booths that were there that had a booth running the same outfit that they did when I started. It was me and one other guy, and he doesn't have his own place no more. So that was it. I didn't know anybody from back in the old times. There's an old lady there. Her husband does fishing trips and shit. And she looks like she's 140, and she looked like she was 140 30 years ago when I started. And I saw them there, and I don't know them. I know who they are,
right.
But that was it. There wasn't nobody. And it was fucking popcorn, get your boots shined. I saw the kid that's special. I don't know how you used to say it.
Where's the hat?
Oh, yeah. Michelle wanted me to get a picture made with him, and I didn't do it.
I think people just find another way of doing business. Like you said, social media is such a big thing now. I mean, people don't go. Well, and are trade shows even a thing anymore?
Well, when you've built something up like you guys have, and like I'd like to think that I have, you don't need it. Right. Word of mouth travels like wildfire.
I was back in the mid 90s when I first started going there. I would take my calendar and I would write a third of my business at the Trophy Hunter show. I was swamped. I sat all day, or we had a double booth, and we had a like a bar top part on our booth, and I had a book, and I had a calendar there. And it was before iPads and all that other shit. I had a notebook, and I still have a notebook. I do everything I do goes in a computer and a notebook in case that computer ever crashes.
I do everything on a calendar, like a physical calendar.
I don't write anything on calendar no more, but I write it in a book. Yeah. But I've got a spiral. I looked at my deal the other day, and I was looking through my spirals from 1993, and I still have some customers from them. But anyways, I used to write a third of my business at the Texas Trophy Hunters, and I would do Houston, I would do San Antonio, and Fort Worth, and then I would come home. And I would print out an invoice, put it in an envelope, and send it to people. Didn't have emails. That's before emails were even around.
Right.
And I did that. Well, then it started changing more. The first big change for the Texas hunting shows was when Bass Pro Shops opened. When they opened up their store in Dallas, or in Fort Worth, Grapevine, whatever it is. When they opened up that store, people would go to the Trophy Hunters, and if the guy across from me was selling deer stands, he might have 10 deer stands in his booth people. And then he'd have a guy that worked for him, and all you would do is you'd buy for one up there, and he'd meet you in the trailer at the parking lots outside, and they were loading deer stands up. And then by fucking Sunday morning, sometimes he didn't have, his last ones were ones he was selling off the floor. He sold everything out. You could buy anything that you wanted in the hunting deal, you could buy there. Mojo doves, all that shit would sell out.
And that was your only chance to buy
That was it. You didn't have nowhere to go.
You couldn't go to Bass Pro or
Yeah,
Cabela's.
because Bass Pro wasn't there. You had to order it.
Online shopping wasn't a thing.
No, no. You didn't. That's right. You buy Cabela's. I used to buy from Cabela's, and you could buy it COD. And you would pay the fucking UPS guy. And you'd write him a check for it, and he'd take it and fucking go back in. Or you pay him cash, and he'd hate that shit. $964, you'd count him out, and he's like, God,
That's funny.
stop at the bank, get a goddamn money order. But that was norm back then.
Right.
Well, Bass Pro Shop changed a bunch of that. Then they would invite us, the manager of the store invited us, and we'd go to Bass Pro Shops. So we would go one weekend to Bass Pro Shops for the great outdoors. Then I would go to Fort Worth, the Trophy Hunter Show. One year, I went to Bass Pro, and I sent Tony and Dad to Houston or San Antonio, the Trophy Hunters. We had 2 different shows. But that's how important hunting shows were back then.
Right.
Then the internet killed it for good, and now it's
and
gone.
I never saw it when the hunting shows were the thing. When I started, it was social media did it all. I mean,
No,
I can remember just as a kid, and like you be in the booth all day long, and you'd want a fucking hot dog or something. So we would bring snacks, but you'd want something from the concession stand. It'd take you 10 minutes to get to the fucking concession stand. You're fighting people, and like you're a little shit, and you're weaving in and out of people.
For a very, very, very half-ass hot dog.
Yes. Or like, God forbid you had to take a piss, and it was urgent because like it's 10, 15-minute hike, and you're weaving in and out of people, and it was shoulder to shoulder. Jeff would have to bring people in the booth because they would just get washed away. If they were outside the booth talking in the aisle, they would just get pushed down.
Yeah.
So like he would have to physically drag them in the booth if you want to talk to anybody.
And that's why we started doing a double booth. We just did the 10 by 10 booth.
That way you could pull somebody in and visit with them.
Then we do a double booth, and one booth would be open except for our chairs and shit where my family and everybody'd sit, and I could pull people in there and do business with people.
Right, talk to them. Yeah.
But it was that busy there, and it would just push. And it's funny when I would talk to the people, the lady from Texas Trophy Hunters, 3 or 4 years ago when I had the conversation about you've got to do something if you want to get people in here. Because when you tell these vendors, oh yeah, we're sold out, and it's a waiting line to get in here. You're lying to people, because then when they go to show and they see that you don't have, it's not a sold out show,
right?
Because when it's easy to get people, when you come in, you think, hey, there's going to be 1,000 exhibitors here. There's going to be some people come through the doors, but then when you get there and there's 600 people and they've given everybody double booths or made the aisles wider. And I would tell him, I'd say, this ain't nothing like it used to be. Oh, we had the biggest crowd we've ever had. Bullshit.
Did you go to that deal at Texas Motor Speedway this year?
No, we were in Michigan.
Let me tell you something. That deal right there is going to blow up big time.
Think so?
Yeah, it was massive. And for it to be 100 degrees outside and people show up like went through that deal, because it was hot. And there was a lot of people
We're gonna go next year, and we'll be with Boss or Pacific. I'm not getting a booth, though. Because we going to sell my hunts anyways.
No, I don't mean for that. I mean for your podcast.
We're going to go and do podcasts.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's going to blow up? Just because they had so much there for everybody?
It's the first year they've ever done it, and they just had some really cool stuff. I mean, they brought in some big pools. Somebody had told me that they had a shooting range out there. They went and dumped dirt and built berms inside the track for people to shoot demo guns.
Couldn't you drive like a dirt
ATV?
You could do anything.
But it's not the first time they've done it. They used to do that same show in Phoenix, or not Phoenix.
Well, this is the first one in Fort Worth.
No, it's the second one. They did one at Gaylord a couple of years ago, but it was inside.
This
one here was designed the way they used to do the DU Great Outdoors events, is what they call it. They used to do one in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and they did one in Memphis, because I've been to Memphis.
They had food. They had food vendors. I mean, there was taco trucks and concerts, and there was just, Polaris was out there and had 45 ATVs outside, and the duck calling competition and all that. I mean, it was huge. And if they could figure out a good time, of course, you got your hard turkey hunters, but if they could figure out a good time to do it when it's not June, I mean, it was hot.
You know what they're dealing with, though? In June, if you do it in June, first go, they got the race, so you can't do it during the race time. But if they do it to June, they've taken the chances of thunderstorms out as much as if you do it in April or May. That's why we would have been there. We'd already planned our vacation, and we got asked by both Pacific and Boss both, hey, y'all come up and do a podcast with us? We're gonna be out of town. And the 2 years ago when they did it at the Gaylord, it was a big bust. And I was like, I don't know, I ain't gonna
This
do it.
one-
But I heard it was really good.
It really was, and I just like I said, it's something says something about your show if it's as hot as it is, and people. I mean, there's a lot of people there.
We're gonna be there next year. I don't see us having a booth.
I wouldn't have a booth there either, but
we're
it's
gonna
still
be
cool
we're gonna
event.
go with Boss or Pacific and do podcasts and
Mm-hmm.
the Lucky Duck. All of our sponsors were there doing it. Dirty Duck was there.
Mm-hmm.
They all done real good. So we won't have it. We're gonna be there, but it was probably a lot like the wildest stuff I ever seen was back when Bass Pro did their outdoor events, and there wasn't a Cabela's. It was just one Bass Pro at Grapevine, and we went to that the first year we did it. And the merchandise they would sell, they would bring out a pallet, let's say of shotgun shells, $3 a box, $30 a case, and you would watch that pallet would fucking disappear in 15 minutes. And then they'd bring out another pallet of shit, and then another pallet of shit.
I would kill for $3 a box shotgun.
Yeah, no shit. I just bought 10 cases for $10 a box.
Yeah, I bought 50 cases of lead shot because we use Apex for the steel shot, but I bought 50 cases of lead shot for $89.50 a case, I think.
Do you supply the ammo for your guys, or
I do during waterfowl season.
during what? But not
Yeah.
during.
Correct.
Fuck,
yeah.
they eat your lunch during dove season.
Yeah,
some of the
they can
shots.
buy them from me, so I have them available, but
Right.
they're included in the hunt cost if they come waterfowl hunt with me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something earlier that you separated from another outfitter. What made you do that? Did you see the potential in your area for a second outfit, or what was the decision?
Honestly, I think it's a lot of being just young and dumb, which I'm glad I took the leap now.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't happy with where I was, and the the people were great, but I wasn't happy with the money, and it was a small outfit at the time. It hadn't really done much, and I found myself hunting a lot of stuff that I could hunt without that person.
Right.
So when you see yourself padding somebody else's bank account, you kind of rethink things like, man, I could do this myself,
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while to get up there,
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of risk in that.
Oh, yeah.
You're pissing off somebody that you care about,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm, close to still, or now. It took a few years, but we both come around. So you make him mad, and then there's money and all kinds of stuff involved, and always the risk of, did someone want to come hunt with me? Did they have fun? All that stuff.
Right.
Stuff that's dwindled slowly as I've gotten older.
How long does that bridge take to mend?
About 3 seasons.
Really?
Yeah,
That long?
well, 3 or 4 seasons probably, and it just mended because, capitalism. There was something he needed and maybe something that I wanted, and
Mm-hmm.
finally just picked up the phone and he was like, "Listen, dude, like there's no way this is gonna work if we keep going at each other's throats because we're bidding everything up and fighting over this and fighting over that." I was like, "That's cool, man. Just $50 a gun, you can go hunt them tomorrow," and we've had that relationship ever since.
Yeah. Taking that first step's always hard because you're like,
Well, you don't want to be the first person.
right.
That's the problem.
He's pissed at me. I'm pissed at him.
Yeah.
And then you get like 3 or 4 years down the line. You're like, I think I know what we're still pissed off at each other for, but I'm not entirely sure. And then you see each other on the road, and you're like flipping each other off.
And I think there's a sense of respect after a little while once somebody knows you're gonna.
Right.
I had something to prove because whenever I parted that deal, I was told that it would never work,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean I've had a fire under my rear for a while,
Shit, if I quit anything I wanted to do because I was told it wouldn't work, or if I never went back to a place I got thrown out of, fuck, I had never nowhere to go and
That's a
nothing to do.
Yeah, that stuff motivates me, and the noise motivates me. I like it. I don't like to partake in it, but I like to hear it because it motivates me.
We went through some of those learning curves and growing up shit long time ago. We almost got into some full-blown fist fights back in the day even.
There's some people that would do that now.
Well, I'm not one of those.
There was an outfitter that we both know of that young kid. He's not a real tall guy. He's kind of small, and he showed up at my driveway one day over something.
Toof. Like just banging on the door or what?
Hey, that could be a couple different people. There's some outfit owners. There's a few short guys.
He fired up, huh?
Well,
Yeah. I guarantee you that me and you are not thinking of the same person right now.
yeah, we are too.
I bet we're not.
Yeah, because you told me about it.
Regardless, people get feisty over stuff like that. It's not worth a fist fight to me.
I had never had nobody come to my house. We always had a fucking bruiser though. somebody was going to whoop us. Tony was going to fight them first. They'd always kind of. Tony's pushed some guys down. I mean, he physically pushed a guy one time.
It was a simple talk, you know. You'd come with the approach that, you know, hey, you know that when you show up at somebody's house, that you're actually wanting to get your ass whooped, right?
That's a whole different level of shit right there when you go check.
It's one thing, out. Yeah. I mean, figure out where I live. That's
right.
That's borderline crazy, you know.
I can't imagine. I got flipped off by a young guy a couple of years ago in Oklahoma. And I had a guy get real disrespectful to me on the side of the road one time, a young guy. I've had that 3 times in the last couple of years. I'm like, what the fuck? You really think I'm going to... First of all, I'm not going to lose a war of words with you if you want to talk. Now, I'm not going to fight you. I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah.
I might shoot your ass.
Well, I would say even since then, you know, we've all got along since then, and we've gotten mad at each other since then. It's just the name of the game, you know. I ain't got anything bad against the dude, but back and forth all the time, you know. It's always something. Somebody thinks they got this or they own this, or the greatest thing are the people that thinks that they just own the countryside because their mom's, dad's, cousin's, uncle said they could hunt one day.
Yeah, what floors me is the guy that got permission 3 years ago that thinks he's got it for the rest of it. And then the farmer is like, what the hell? They're not supposed to be here. 3 years ago, I let them hunt once, and they think they got at least forever. My best advice to those young guys is you need to take care of what's right here around you.
Yeah.
Take care of the shit that you control. Try to get along with people, and you're a whole lot better off. I mean, you are. Fighting and arguing, and first of all, it's so unprofessional to let your client see that you're having some issues with another outfitter.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is. It doesn't look good. And I've been on that side of the deal. I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been on the side where now I've never been somewhere we didn't have permission to go. We went to a field one time somebody else was set up in that we had permission to hunt on. And so did he, from 2 different members of the same family.
I've never run into that problem.
We did, and we left because I wasn't going to call someone at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I'm not calling my farmers. Now, the stuff I got here in Knox and Haskell County, if you're out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, my ass ain't budging. I'm not calling them. I'm calling the game warden because I know what the laws are and the rules are. Not the law. I just know what's mine and what's not. But I've never had a problem. Andy rolled up on some kids going to hunt our stuff last year. And that kid wasn't doing it on purpose. He thought he was at the right spot.
Yeah, he got his wires crossed on where he was.
Yeah.
So.
And in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30, if we'd have went out there and Andy had called me at 4:30 and said, or 5, and said, hey, there's somebody setting up out here. I'd fucking run them off. And we would have. So, hey, you can't be here. This is ours. We've had at least for 27 years or whatever it is, and you got to go.
There's some people that'll get in full-blown fistfights over stuff like that.
They would have really fucked up if they'd have done that. Because
there's 2 sets of S-curves kind of where we hunt, and they had gone too far, or maybe they came in from another way and crossed an S-curve, so they were where they thought they needed to be. But
that's everybody's excuse.
Yeah, no, they really, because they even know the farmer's name that had the field. Right. They were supposed to be a mile away on.
And the field that they were looking at was at an S-curve, but it wasn't at the right S-curve.
They legitimately, I don't think, were trying to do anything wrong. And then the guy asked Andy, well, how do y'all get on these places? Well, we've fucking been doing it for, we've had the same lease for.
But they were going to be set up had I not approached them.
And they would have really been upset in the morning.
They were going to be there the next morning.
Right.
And they would have been really upset because I'm not one of those ones that's going to say, I'm going to say, hey, you got to go. Now, even our stuff in Oklahoma, 99% of it, well, every bit of it that we have now in Oklahoma, I would be like, hey, I'm not calling the guy at 4 o'clock. You get your shit and go. Or I'm going to call the game warden, you know? I'm not going to.
Well, that's a perk to, like I was saying earlier, just having everything leased.
Peace of mind.
The day rate thing, you just open yourself up to conflict like that, you know? Because I got something in writing, you know, that I keep with me all the time, whether it be a text message or a note in my phone. Like, I got PDFs of contracts and everything. It's like, dude, like, leave.
Well, you know what's really good out here that we deal with in Texas is that there's 3 outfitters right here where we hunt, and I know we all know what we're doing every day. I mean, and I'm kind of the liaison between the other 2 guys, but I talk to their guide or to the guy that owns it. Then I talk to Justin all the time, and I'll be like, hey, they're hunting here, we're hunting here, you know, so everybody knows. And one of the things is, it's not we're all being nosy. It just makes us make easier decisions, you know. They're going to hunt, you know, a mile down. The birds are coming from that way, and they're going to be in front of us. I mean, there's different things. You know how the variables that go with that. But knowing and communicating makes things a whole lot better.
Yeah, I've collabed before.
Yeah.
You know, shown up and just been like, hey, I know that you know the birds aren't using this field, and you know I'm trying to hunt right here. So you only got 6 people. Like, just come join us and let's kill them.
It works a
Call
lot
it
better
good.
that way.
There's a lot of people that will not do that, though.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you what. In Oklahoma, there's no telling who the fuck's gonna show up somewhere because it's gotten to be such a. And I think it's the whole state of Oklahoma has just turned into we got season places that we have that nobody else hunts on, and nobody else is gonna be around them. But them places that are up for grabs that guys are day leasing to everybody, fuck, there's liable to be 15 different guys in 15 different fields. Last year we hunted a field down there that there was fucking 3 different groups hunting within a mile of us wanting us to hunt because we let it set for a couple of days, just because they needed a place to hunt because there wasn't nowhere. The birds were limited anyways, and it's gotten to be. And now they're adding a bunch more outfitters. I'm like, where the fuck do you think you're going to hunt these birds?
Well, not only is it a bunch of outfitters, a bunch of outfitters that want to day lease, like you're talking about, because they don't want to risk losing any money.
They don't want to. They don't want to tie nothing up, and it's. They better hope there's some winner. What's bad is I've noticed a couple of the outfitters now are spinoffs of one other outfitter. So they work for them, and now they want to do their own thing. And I don't blame them for doing that anyway. So they do their own scouting and shit.
That was me at one point.
But they're hunting the same piece of properties that everybody else did for.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real cluster this year.
There's some stuff around Wichita happening like that too. So Mike's dealing with, but who knows? They come and go. They always do. People from Dallas will come over for a while to figure out that I roll up on people scouting my stuff all the time, but they don't ever
Right.
That's the nice thing about leasing everything. You go home, you go to bed, you wake up, it's yours. You know that pull over and look at them all you want, but you're not going to touch them.
Oklahoma, we see that a lot. And we're doing mostly duck hunts in Oklahoma. We're goose hunting too, but we've got I've still got some duck hunts. If you want to shoot some ducks in December, I've got some weekdays open because we got 28 ponds to hunt up there. We got lots of duck hunting, and that's what we're going to do is a lot of morning duck hunts. But I talk to out here, we don't see anybody else. If we see somebody here, it's a big thing. But it just who's that guy scouting? Because there's nowhere to go out here. You're not getting on anywhere in Knox and Haskell. So if you're not one of 3 of us, you can't hunt anywhere. So we'll see a truck, and one of the other outfitters will be, hey, do you know who's driving a blue, Silverado with Colorado tags, blah, blah, blah. Someone that's obviously not going to be happy come the next couple of days. They're going to drive around a lot and figure they got to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just, I've known since I was a little boy that this is like untouchable ground over here. I've never come over here to do anything,
You can't get on nowhere.
No, I know.
And it's been that way for 30 years.
Yeah.
We were the first people to lease anything, season lease stuff, and we did that.
Well, and people know that too. It's the same thing that's happening around Wichita. People are figuring it out. People are going to come over and they're going to try and they're going to be unsuccessful and they're going to move on.
I had a guy from Dallas call me.
Go to Oklahoma.
Last hunting season, he goes, hey, I know we can't get on anywhere out there. Do can we get on at Wichita? I said, you're not going to get on anywhere out there. Where would you go? I said, my best advice is go somewhere up in the Panhandle, somewhere around Childress, Clarendon, before you're going to need any outfitters, and you might find a place to get on. And now there's some guys hunting up there now, but I said that's where you're going to have to go. I wouldn't go to Oklahoma because fucking if there's a good place to hunt in Oklahoma, there's going to be 15 fucking people trying to get on that place, or it's season lease like the shit we have.
Right.
Go to eastern Colorado. I told a guy the other day, I said, if you guys like, I can go hunt. A guy just the other day called me. He said, I've got 10 days. Me and my buddies are going to go on a road trip to hunt. Where would you go to? I said, I would go to fucking Wyoming or Idaho.
Get out of here.
I said, if you're going to drive, what's the difference another day's driving? If you got 10 days, hunt 9 days, but go fucking another day further away, because you can get on places to hunt maybe.
You draw a circle around Knox City 300 miles every direction, and you're going to have a tough time.
You are. That's exactly right. Until you get up to eastern Colorado. And it may be the same in Colorado. I don't know. I always tell people go where there's not a big city anywhere around.
Right.
Because if you get within 100 miles, but like Oklahoma City, how do you really think you're going to get on a field within 50 miles of Oklahoma City? Too many people in Oklahoma City hunt on their own.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of those farmers up there like to goose hunt too.
Yeah, and where are you going to duck hunt in East Texas that's a hidden jewel? Unless it's public land.
Yeah, there's some public over there that I know about.
But, I mean, other than public, you're not going to get anything private to hunt.
Yeah. I know some buddies that hunt public over there. I personally have never hunted public land one time in my entire life.
We have a couple of times on some places, but not very much. I watched, before we get off here, I watched Chef Jean Paul's his stuff again. That's a great series.
It is. Real good. He's done very well with that.
That is a really,
successful.
really good series. It does have a Bourdain, but it's got a Netflix type series to it where you would watch it on Netflix.
Right. Kind of like that. I mean, I know he didn't like it, but the barbecue show.
Yeah, same type of stuff. Just a really neat deal, and I have really, really enjoyed that series.
And they're short enough where you can like burn through them.
Yes.
15, 20 minutes isn't bad.
Yep. It was a good show. Well, Rustin, I appreciate you being on here. I know
Yeah,
we've
thanks
knocked
for
out
having me.
You got
Enjoyed
things.
it.
You got things to do. Bigger fish to fry than hanging out with the Stanfield family.
Back to the normal business, I guess.
Well, I wish you
We've
the.
only got about 2 weeks now.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
I wish
I'm ready
you
to get it rolling.
I wish you the best dove season. I know as the king, you won't have any problem doing that, but
He doesn't like that, Jeff.
that's all right. You know me. If I know it makes you uncomfortable or something, I'm gonna be all over that
jump
shit.
all over it.
Yeah,
Anyways, I wish you the best,
appreciate it.
and I appreciate your friendship, and look forward to another great season.
Yeah, thank you,
Hopefully everybody makes it through and has a safe hunting season.
Safe, wonderful year.
everyone.
All right, everybody, thank y'all for listening. Seriously, if you're looking for some duck hunt dates, I've got some stuff in December in Oklahoma available. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great weekend. If all the guys banging the birds up north on the conservation or not the conservation, early bird nuisance season, be safe. God bless you. Take care.
Check out all of our wonderful sponsors. Check out Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Shin Gear Waders, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Gun Dog Outdoors, Goose Creek Retrievers, Bangtail, Whiskey, Eyesight Drone Service. And like Jeff said, we got a couple dates available. Call us, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters.